Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we have more details on the proposal to end the war in Gaza, with multiple entities backing that plan. And tensions are high for both Republicans and Democrats after the Senate failed to pass funding plans.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday to you, Mountain family. I'm Amelia Lee here with you on this October 1st. We're at 5 o'clock this morning and time for a check of our weather with Megan Dusmal. And Megan, it's finally October. I feel like spooky season can finally begin. We've made it to that point.
We have, but I mean, the temperatures just don't reflect that just quite yet. So just keep that in mind as you're starting off the first day of the month. Now, in terms of what you can expect going out the door, main thing will be that dense, patchy fog. In fact, most folks out in our region are under a dense fog advisory this morning, with the densest fog right now being in Hazard, half a mile, as well as Harlan, and even denser than that as you're traveling towards Jacksboro, Tennessee. Now we're looking at nice and clear skies rain-wise. There's the good news there. So that won't be interfering with any driving conditions this morning. But as you're heading throughout the next couple hours, you're going to see temperatures warming up from the upper 50s and low 60s to the high temperatures of the day in the low to mid 80s. Definitely not October weather that you'd expect, but will eventually get cooler as we're going through the next several days. Here's a look at that forecast for you. High temperatures at 4 p.m. sunny to mostly sunny skies. Amelia.
In Morgan County, a death investigation is underway at the Eastern Kentucky Correctional Complex in West Liberty. State police say 27-year-old Ryan Rayburn of Ashcamp was found unresponsive in his cell yesterday afternoon. He was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at Morgan County ARH. Police say foul play is suspected and a person of interest who is also an inmate at the facility is being investigated. In Madison County, the coroner there confirmed a 61-year-old man from Illinois died on EKU's campus yesterday. The coroner says 61-year-old Edwin Burton II was working on an air conditioning unit in the basement of Telford Hall. He said the unit somehow got loose and fell on the victim. The coroner also says the unit weighed between 1,000 to 2,000 pounds. Well, Hamas says it's reviewing President Donald Trump's proposal to end the war in Gaza after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and several Arab countries back the plan. The terms require Hamas to effectively disarm and release all remaining hostages in exchange for a ceasefire, a withdrawal of Israeli forces, and a surge of aid in Gaza. War-weary Palestinians expressed relief about a possible end to the fighting, but some Gaza residents say the deal falls short.
The plan as it appears does not fulfill the people's hopes. Everything written in it serves the enemy's interests more than it serves the people's interests. But in the end, we want to live.
Well, Hamas considers the proposal. Israel is carrying on with its offensive in the territory. Hospitals reported at least 31 Palestinians were killed by Israeli forces Tuesday. In a rare meeting of hundreds of America's military leaders, President Donald Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told troops to get in line with President Trump's agenda or resign. Among other glaring statements, Hegseth said it was unacceptable to see fat generals in the halls of the Pentagon. Naomi Ruckham has more from the gathering, plus the latest on the president's push to lower drug prices.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth welcomed the nation's top military brass to Washington by announcing new standards on troops' physical fitness.
It's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon.
Hegseth told the crowd of nearly 800 military leaders that troops would be required to pass a combat field test and meet grooming standards.
No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression.
He also touted a return to, quote, the highest male fitness standards, saying it's not the intent to keep women out of combat roles, but acknowledged that could be the result. President Trump also spoke to the group himself, saying that, quote, dangerous cities like Chicago should be used as training grounds for U.S. troops.
This is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within.
Democrats like Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, a veteran herself, fought back fiercely, calling the proposal illegal
and unconstitutional. You cannot deploy our military onto the streets of our cities.
Also on Tuesday, President Trump celebrated his win against drug maker Pfizer, announcing the company has agreed to offer lower prices on some prescriptions through a federally operated website called Trump RX. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Pfizer CEO said the president's threat of 100% tariffs on drugs made outside the U.S. motivated the move. Well, Republicans and Democrats are blaming each other after multiple votes to keep the government funded past midnight failed in the Senate Tuesday. Democrats are calling for a deal on health care provisions, which they say can't wait. Top Republicans say they won't negotiate until the government reopens. Lawmakers are due back on Capitol Hill today for more possible votes. Meanwhile, thousands of federal workers are now expected to go without pay as President Donald Trump threatens more layoffs.
We'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected, and they're Democrats. They're going to be Democrats. We can get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want, and they'd be Democrat things.
I am the primary breadwinner of my household, so we will be tightening belts.
Members of Congress and the president will continue to receive their paychecks during the shutdown. The last shutdown back in 2018 lasted longer than 1 month. Well, what does that government shutdown mean for you as a Kentuckian? The latest numbers we could find from December of last year showed there are more than 23,000 Kentuckians with federal jobs. Some of those employees could be placed on furlough or be forced to work, like those who are considered essential, meaning clocking in without a check and being paid later. Among employees considered essential are TSA workers and those who work in air traffic control. Workers at Bluegrass Airport in Lexington talked about how this could impact travelers.
In recent occurrences of similar situations, we've been lucky where it hasn't impacted operations here at Bluegrass Airport. Therefore, the employees are showing up to work and, helping to process passengers through and do their jobs. And we're just hopeful that we see a similar situation this time if the shutdown does occur.
Benefits and safety net programs like Social Security and VA benefits will continue, but there could be some delays. But we are hearing that WIC or Women, Infants and Children programs could feel that funding freeze. Officials with Kentucky's WIC program say it will continue as normal until further notice. Well, that shutdown could impact communities surrounding Mammoth Cave. In 2024, the National Park Service conducted a visitor spending effect analysis study at Mammoth Cave National Park. The study showed that more than 740,000 visitors came to Mammoth Cave last year, adding over $72 million in economic spending to the communities that surround the park. A government shutdown could close the park, meaning visitors will keep their dollars at home.
People were traveling to Mammoth Cave just to see Mammoth Cave, but while they're here, they utilize services within the local area. They'll utilize gas or restaurants or hotels or other attractions in the area for more spending. So that socioeconomic study showed that visitors stayed longer and that they were also spending more within the region.
Nationally, visitors spent $29 billion in communities near national parks, with lodging and restaurants receiving the greatest direct contribution. The Trump administration is investing millions in the coal industry. The Department of Energy announced the $625 million investment Monday. U.S. Secretary of Energy Chris Wright says the money will help the country reindustrialize and win the AI race. Most of the funding, about $350 million of it, will go to modernizing coal power units. The Department of the Interior is also opening more than 13 million acres of federal land for coal leasing. And paper checks from the federal government are becoming a thing of the past. The Treasury Department stopped issuing paper checks for most payments yesterday. This includes Social Security beneficiaries. It's part of the Trump administration's effort to fully modernize federal benefits payments, save money, and fight financial fraud. The change will also affect how the IRS issues tax refunds. Well, thank you so much for getting your day started with us on Mountain News this morning at 5:09. Coming up, we'll introduce you to a man making folks smile with a simple thumbs up. That's on the good side.
And we're breaking down the lack of rain that we'll see the rest of this week.